Monday. Happy New Year's. It's your boy Kevin Thornton, and you have tuned in to the Wellness Architect Show. This is my first show of 2019. I took 2 weeks off for the holidays. Well, one of my person had canceled because he got caught in traffic. His flight never showed up in time, so I canceled for 2 weeks. Got some rest, enjoyed the holidays. Yeah. I don't know. Can you hear me? So we're going to have a great show. We're going to start the year right. So I got the Motivational Queen with me tonight, and we're going to start off the year trying to help you create the best version of you in 2019. So I want to welcome Ms. Wanda Hollis, the Motivational Queen. How you doing?
I am excellent. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, it had to be the way that I'm gonna start off right. You know, we're gonna start off with motivation and inspiration, and who else better do a 1-2 punch with a male and a female with the Motivational Queen.
All right, I'm ready. I didn't bring my boxing gloves, but I'm ready because I come in peace.
I know. So tell everybody who you are and what you do and how I can find you, all that kind of good stuff.
Okay, wonderful. I am Wanda D. Hollis, the Motivational Queen. I am an inspirational, motivational coach and speaker. I help businesses mainly identify what their mission is and help accelerate that using the platform of media. So what I do is basically love to just get up in other folks' business and figure out where they trying to go. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Good shit.
So I do that. I have my show comes on twice a month on the first and the third Sunday right here on Status Network. It's called the I Am Enough Talk Show, and you can find that on Instagram, on Facebook. I actually we just opened up a group. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, what is the title? I forget the title, but it's Wake Up Winning in Business.
Okay, yeah, I saw
Wake
that.
Up Winning in Business. So I'm excited about that group page because it's actually going to just give more of the stuff, but it's going to be very centered on, business owners and how they can, strategize and capitalize on winning in business. I also do a morning Wake Up Winning call every Monday through Friday on Facebook, where I come in, and we're going to be shifting over and doing it from that page. So it'll be on that page, and people can come in, get motivated in the morning, get some strategy tips for their business, and just have a great day. So my links are the same everywhere. Wanda D. Hollis on all social media. You can find me LinkedIn that way, Wanda D with a period. LinkedIn, what's this? Instagram, Facebook,
Twitter,
YouTube, Twitter. It's all the same. Wanda D. Hollis.
All right. So for me, everybody, I do have if you're in the Metro Atlanta area, I'm going to be doing a vision board party. It's going to be January 28th. That's a Saturday.
January 28th, okay.
Is that a Saturday? It's supposed to be Saturday. I'll give you the information. So I'm supplying the poster board. We're going to have some wine.
Wine is good.
Wine is good.
All the time.
That's right. And
you don't have any wine now?
I don't.
Darn.
And I'm gonna have a gift for everybody. So I'm gonna post it on social media, let you know how much it's gonna cost and all that kind of good stuff. But it's gonna be a great opportunity to get started with 2019, visualizing what we want our life to be for 2019 and beyond. So that's for that. And also, I do have my 7-day detox and 21-day wellness challenge. So if you want to know about that, hit me up on all my media, and we can make it happen for 2019. But let's get it started with you, ma'am, because the thing is, when I looked on social media all the way up to at the end of 2018, everybody says how they want to make 2019 the best year ever. And we say that all the time.
I was going to say they say it every year.
We say it every year. So what, as a coach, what would you say what we need to do to create the change, though we need to change differently to create the best year ever?
First thing, one of the first steps is to identify exactly what you want, you know, and be very, very specific about it. You know, most people throw out the term like, I want to lose weight, and they don't really say how much weight or what areas they want to concentrate on. You as a trainer, I mean, you know that, so you kind of need to say exactly how you want that to look and feel and why. Like, why do you want it?
Exactly.
I think for change to occur first, you got to identify what your why is. What is the reason for the change? And then make a definite plan. You know, you can't just throw out these words. I did a talk not long ago, and I said, let's stop lying to ourselves. It's okay. It's okay if you're gonna be that way. Then just admit that's where you are and stay there. Don't even waste your time and your voice with it.
Absolutely. And I would piggyback off of you is no. The question I ask everybody is what your intentions are. You know, everything you're doing is, so if you say, like you say, if you want to lose weight, what is your intentions for losing weight? Why you want to do it? You know, are you doing it for a dude, or are you doing it for a young lady, or what's the why? You know, and be honest with that why, because you know, so then we can figure out, you know, how to plan accordingly. Because if you're doing it for another person, and that situation don't work out, then what's going to happen? Are you going to go back to your old self? So that's the question you got to figure out in everything you're doing. Is what's your why? You know, are you seeking validation from other people? You know, and if so, why?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it always start with that. Once again, it's still that reason. Like, what's connecting you to wanting to do that? You know, what is that desire connecting to? People, and I had a conversation recently, someone said to me, well, you know, I know, like, when I get there, whatever, you'll just do, you know, you'll do everything that I need to do. I said, well, no, you got to do it for yourself, and you got to do it for yourself now, because if anything happens to that person that you're waiting on, then what happens? You're no longer interested, so therefore you never was really interested to begin with. You know?
And so what would you say for the listeners, women and men, who said in 2019 they're going to love themselves more, and then in touch they're going to attract the man or the woman that is God's given them?
That they're going to love themselves and stay with the person, or they're looking for somebody?
They're looking for somebody.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a model that who's looking for, you know, that who I'm looking for is looking for me.
Right.
That's my motto. And again, you don't chase it. You know, just like anything else, you don't chase it. You just, if we focus on ourselves and getting ourselves right, and this is in all areas of our life, then I really believe that the universe will hear you, understand you, and bring into exactly what you need. You know, that's what I believe.
Absolutely.
So,
and I just think, you know, we put too much onus on. I think the narrative is making it seem like it's something wrong with us if we are single.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like, and it's okay. I mean, it's okay to not be in a relationship.
Exactly.
Sometimes you don't need to be in a relationship. That whole healing process, you can't heal things if they're still like really super messy. You know what I'm saying? Like you're out and you're bitter Bob.
Right.
And you're like, bitter Bob, he shouldn't be looking for no woman. You know, same thing with negative Nancy. She shouldn't be looking for a woman right now. You know, get you together. You should be your first priority.
Exactly. And you know, because if you can't go into a good relationship if you still broken. And I think a lot of times we just go from one relationship to another relationship out trying to sit still and try to figure out and heal from the messes before. Right. And ask God, you know, what was I supposed to learn from these relationships so I won't do the same thing again in the next one, you know, or what do I need to work on myself to be the better person? Because a lot of times we all have these expectations of other people, but do we meet the expectations that we're asking for?
Especially in Atlanta. They say this real rough out here.
Man, it's the land of the fake and the fraudulent. Hey, you know, everybody
the fake and the fraudulent. Oh my goodness, that's a double whammy.
Yes, ma'am. So speak to the ladies about, you know, because you said you let them, you don't search for it. You let it come to you. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to that? Because I think a lot of times women and men, you know, I guess the fear of being alone, they just seek for whatever they try and find because they rather have a little something than nothing. So can you speak to that?
Well, I mean, you know, like anything else, we have to be prepared. First of all, you have to love yourself to the point of knowing that you are enough. Just plain and simple, that you're enough.
Right.
And when you operate out of the space of abundancy,
right,
then you don't fear that you won't have that person coming into your life when you're ready or when they're ready. You know, but what we can't do is try to create things that don't exist. Like, you know, you have a person, say you're with a woman and she doesn't treat you well, and you're going to just pretend like that's not going on for the sake of just being with a person.
Right.
And I think that does us more harm than good. It's like you end up being very resentful to that person, and no matter what you do, you never can please them because they're not really for you.
Right.
You know, so one thing, especially as women, speaking to my women, we have something that's in us called intuition. We need to really clear our space so we can listen to that intuition. Our intuitiveness, it tells us whether something is right or wrong. But in our minds, that nasty mind of yours will always try to make you believe, oh, it's not that bad.
Right.
Oh, no. Listen, look at the signs and start looking at people. Try to look at people's heart space more so than the appearance of. A lot of good men get away because women sometimes are too caught up in how many degrees you got, what kind of car you drive, what side of town you live on. Oh, you live on that side of town. Oh, you live on that side of town. You know, like, get all of that all faked up, and guess what? That's a house that he's sitting in. That's not his house in Buckhead. That's really not his house.
Right.
You know, and they get all caught up, you know, that's a lease car, you know, don't own that, and just all of the stuff that really doesn't matter. So I say when you're trying to have yourself open to receive a mate, then do it from a space of, you know, of honesty.
Right.
You know, like, what are the things that really speak to your heart when it comes to relationships? Know what you really like. My mom used to always say, do we make you laugh? You know, because at the end of the day, we just want to be happy, you know, and you want to be happy, you want to be in joy, you want to be in love, not just the thought of I love this person, but I want to be in love, you know, to where I'm excited.
Exactly. And then I think the follow-up with that is that for the ladies, you know, I'll tell a situation where I had went out one time to this restaurant, and you know, it's kind of like a bougie type place on the east side. You probably know what it is, what I'm saying.
I don't know.
And I went in there. And it was like 3 young ladies, and they asked me what do I do for a living, and I told them, I said, you know, there's other questions you can ask me to get to know who I am, because what I do is not who I am. And so her response back to me was, then you must not be about shit, because you don't want to tell me. So
brassy.
Right, because you don't want to tell me, you know, what you do. I said, once again, you know, what I do is not who I am. I said, so let me ask you this. Tell me who you are. Don't tell me your job title, your socioeconomic status, what kind of car you drive, where your house is at. None of that. Just tell me who you are outside of all that. Ready, set, go. And she couldn't do it.
Crickets. We talked about that yesterday. Crickets.
And I like, so you can't even tell me who you are without all the other superficial type stuff. So that means you and I are not even on the same level in the first place.
Same page, right?
And so she got mad and she was like, you are cocky, MF. I said, nah, I'm cocky. Because
before you wasn't about stuff.
Right,
now you done turned into being cocky.
Right, because you
can't keep up with you, Kevin.
I can't keep up with myself. And so my thing is, we all need to take the time to figure out who we are and whose we are. And, can we define ourselves not by what we do, what we have, but just who we are as a person. And, when we could do that, and then, and when we try to figure out what we need in that mate, if we base it off who they are as people and not what they do, then you'll attract that type of person.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of things too, I see what people in general, men and women, we come down to relationships, they quickly want to say what the man didn't do or what the man did to them, or the guy say what the women was doing. And I don't want to hear none of that. I said, because at the end of the day, you attracted that man.
Exactly.
You attracted that
you
woman.
You made the choice to be with them.
You made the choice.
Right.
You attracted them and you chose that person. So we can't control what they did, but we could ask yourself, what is it within you as a person or in your thoughts that caused you to attract that type of person to you? So then we could work on that. So then you could try to attract something different. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with you. Two parts. When you identify with the young lady that was, probing you or whatever, that's a clear sign that, this is somebody that you quickly identify they're not for me, because you couldn't tell me who you are.
Right.
We don't, and that's the sad truth, is we don't really know who we are. A lot of us don't really know who we are. We're so connected to titles and status, to where when you remove all of that and you say to somebody, well, who are you? And it's like, I don't really know, but when you have a level of awareness that you know who you are, and you know that it's not defined by your job, you're more than your job, you're more than your career, you're more than your business, you're more than the mother to your children or the wife to your husband. You are an individual, and when in your spirit, and you love, and you're light, and you have to connect to that. It has to make sense to you first. See, when I say that, I know what I'm talking about. I have an emotion that is behind that. So therefore, everything that I do is representing who I am.
Right.
It's so it doesn't matter whether I come to the party and I'm hosting the party, or I'm coming to the party to be entertained at the party. I'm still the same person.
Right.
I'm still going to reach out. I'm still going to smile. I'm going to have the energy of the world with me, working on my side, because I believe that I have a responsibility to raise the vibration.
Exactly.
That's who I am.
Exactly. And see, that's why I'm always enjoy talking to you, because we know we on that same level. We talk about vibrations, and a lot of times I think everybody say they want to change for 2019, but I think sometimes we scared to change, because with change comes a change.
A change. And it's a responsibility.
And it's a responsibility, because a lot of times when you change, then the people that you might have been dealing with before may not like the new version of you.
Exactly.
And they're going to want you to be the old version of who you are, because that's
who they're comfortable with.
Exactly. And so your question, you have to be, are you willing to be okay releasing certain people from your life?
Exactly.
In order to elevate who you are.
Exactly.
And you got to be okay with that, because if you hold on to people that want you to be the old version of you, but you steadily trying to be this version, but because you're scared to let them go, because y'all been friends since first grade, but that person's still the same person since first grade. Just older, right? Then what's going to happen when you're blocking the blessing, because the God, the universe, whoever you believe, is trying to bring somebody new to you. That's going to.
I used to always have a saying when I was dating. I would say, you know, I can't be in a relationship just to have somebody as a space holder.
Right.
Because I truly believe that if we're together and if we're not really together, if we're not, you know, on the same page, we're not vibing right, I believe that if you allow somebody to just stay in that spot, then somebody else cannot get in there. You know, it's like no room. So you have to put your big girl panties on, put your big boy drawers on, and you have to really say, you know what, I'm a risk being by myself.
Right.
In order to get this spot filled, I have to get that weight out. Men are really much worse than that than women.
We are.
Men kind of like, well, I can't say all, but just typical is I gotta find a replacement before I can release this one. They're almost like when they're leaving out, it's because somebody else is there already.
Right.
So it's like,
exactly. Because the fear of being by themselves
it's stronger for men than the women,
Yeah.
and men get labeled as no emotions. Oh, you don't have it. Oh, he's not sensitive. Ladies, they more sensitive than us any day. They could not do half of the stuff that we do. Trust me. I'm just saying. I'm saying.
Hey, so so the thing, one of the things that somebody was saying, I saw on social media. We have to be aware that we manifest what we speak and what we think. So if I saw on social media somebody said, you know, ugly men cheat too, and then somebody responded back by saying all men cheat. So to me, you're going to be, you know, when you say that, you're speaking to a manifestation that you believe all men cheat. So then therefore, the good men that will treat you right and will not cheat will never come your way because you don't believe they exist.
Right.
And so I think that's something that I think we got to be more cognizant about doing. It's what we're saying, because, you know, you can't say you want a man or you want a woman, but you think all men cheat or all women ain't shit. But yet, you know, you want a good person. You already spoke.
You have to let something go.
Exactly.
You have to definitely let something go. And that's just out of habit and fear. That's why people say that. And it's almost like the fear of, I was talking to a friend of mine, which sometimes when people are on that verge of success, they get real fearful and they abandon the project. You know, and that's what some experiences that he was going through. With just some people that he was like had invested a lot of money and time into, and then when it was time to release this publication, it was like, oh, I think I'm just gonna stay, you know, I think I'm just gonna stay local. I'm not ready to go, you know, and that's how, kind of like the same way how relationships are when you don't speak what you want, and because of fear of disappointment.
Right.
You know, it's like I to safeguard myself, I'll say, oh, all men ain't shit, and then that way secretly I'm praying for God to send me a man, but I'm speaking publicly that they're not. So if it never comes, then it'll be okay, because see, I proved it. I proved what I said. Right. You know, and yeah. So it's crazy. It's a twisted, crazy cycle.
It is. And you know, I posted on my page, I think January 1st or 2nd, one of stuff. My goal is to post a book cover every month for like the book of the month, to inspire the people to do best. So the book of the month.
I'm gonna put mine up there
next month.
Okay.
All right. So the book of the month, the book of the month for the month of January is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
So the book is about, it's like a reporter doing an interview with the devil. So it pretty much tells you that the devil is not a man with a red outfit on with a pitchfork. The devil is fear and negativity. And that the devil uses all of us to do his dirty work, because we all at some point in time have fear and or negativity in our spirits. So with that being said, you know, media is very good at showcasing negativity and fear. And so they put all these things out there to make you fearful.
Right.
So in relationships, you know, especially here in Atlanta, you know, you got the stats that's saying that it's, you know, 20-1, you know, 60% of all single women will never be married. So these stats make people fearful and scared that they're going to end up being alone. So then they end up taking whatever so they won't be one to be one in that statistic. And the reality is, you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, the stats don't really mean anything, because all you need is one.
Exactly. That's all you need.
All you need is one. So you can't tell me you're not a great enough woman or a great enough dude
to attract one
person. And so, but we have allowed the narrative that the media and society has created to believe that we in a state of lack. So then therefore we act in such, you know, we get scared, we start doing things that we don't really need to in fear of lack. So what's your thoughts?
Well, I agree totally. We definitely live in a society. I mean, I was talking about that the other day, you know, and probably earlier today with someone as well. It's just it's what we do. Media, and see, we're in media, so
right.
This is a great opportunity for, if you're in a space of controlling the content, then you make sure you come with the truth. You know, you make sure that, like, our platforms are used to uplift people and to educate and to bring some awareness to some things that that aren't true. And one thing about it is, this lack mentality is so far. It's so fake. We are definitely in a world of abundance. Now, whether it's spread around equally, that's one thing. But as far as abundance, we operate out of abundance. Just take a look. When you get up in the morning and you go outside and you look at nature and just watch nature do its thing.
Right.
It doesn't need any permission slips or nothing. You know, you can go down there. You can see, in the summertime, I like to watch how the ants be traveling.
Right.
They be building, they be breaking stuff down, and it just be a trail of ants just on their thing. They got it together. The birds have it together. Everybody has it together but people.
Right.
Why we can't get it together? Where if you believe in the Bible, it says that we're supposed to have dominion over all things. So then why is it that we suffer from this lack mentality, and yet you have the animals that's operating out of abundance and doing what the nature calls on them to do?
Right.
And we mess that up because of our influence onto the nature. Of course, we come and wreck that.
Right.
But so the real question is, when will we stop?
Exactly. And I agree. And my thing is, to piggyback off of that is, you know, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, you know, we speak out of lack. We speak out of that we have no power, and all that is a falsehood. You know, based on however your interpretation is. But to me, it's a falsehood, because you can't go to church like everybody say they do, and believe that God is the highest power. He orders our steps and He makes no mistakes. If you believe that to be true, then whatever, you know, the government, whoever else try to do to keep us down, you know, it doesn't really have to do nothing to do with us. If you really believe what you believe, because you and your God are the co-creators of your life. Exactly. And so if you start saying that what they're doing is preventing you being your best self, so what you're saying is that you have given your power to that person. So they now have more power over your life than God or whoever you believe in. And so you need to take that power back and go back to what you truly believe. What's your thoughts?
Well, I agree. I agree that nothing has power over you but your own thoughts. And we limit ourselves, we put ourselves in boxes, and
Yep.
we say that this is where I feel comfortable. And again, we're talking about going into the new year with a new perspective, and you can't have a new perspective in old clothes. You gotta give it up. You gotta just say, you know, I'm willing to sacrifice and put down all of these things of the past in order to step in something new.
Right.
You have to make those decisions and those choices. I think when we first started the conversation, it was like, how do you come with making these changes? This is 2019, and if you're still going to, let's face it, a lot of people will be talking the same stuff come 2020.
Yeah.
Be the same way. So when we were right before we went into 2019, you know, everybody's so excited. Get ready! I'm so excited. I'm tired of 2018. 2018 was a great year for me.
Right.
You know, 2017 was a great year for me. I learned a lot, challenges, learned through them,
Right.
grew through them. It's same thing, and I can track back to where every year, and that's how you have to look. Looking at life is just perspective, out of your perspective of what do you see.
Right.
So I'm only looking for great things. I'm only expecting great things to happen.
Right.
You know, and when, not to say that everything goes my way, but my recovery is fast.
Right.
You know, it's not about how you fall down, but it's more about how you get up.
Yeah.
You know, how
you
are you getting up fast? So speaking of that young lady that came in front of you, and you know, a quick dismissal, like that's great. Because imagine if you're trying to convince somebody that you're enough.
Right.
I'm trying to convince you
Right.
that I'm enough. Like
Right.
that's not gonna work.
Right. And that's part of the process and part of the journey, that you understand that you have to understand that you are enough, because a lot of people intent is to tear you down because they're not happy with themselves.
Because they don't know the truth.
Right. They don't know the truth about who you are, and then they are not happy with themselves.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, what I tell people all the time is you have to be 100% unapologetic about who you are, what you're trying to do, and all that, and not seek validation from anybody. You know, I think that's the thing we do, you know, and we do it a lot. You know, we seek validation. We could talk about certain races, but we still want validation from them. You know, we still want that approval from them.
Why is that?
Why is that? You know, I'm not seeking approval. I like you, but I'm not seeking approval from you.
Right.
I'm gonna still be Kevin, and hopefully you just like the version of Kevin that you see. But I'm not gonna change Kevin for your validation. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of times what we do. You know, we want to be liked so much by people that we just change the essence of who we are to be liked. But then, do we really like the version that we are?
Right.
Because we pleasing everybody else.
And I think everything always goes back. We can talk all night and day. And you know what, Kevin? In the end, it all goes back to self-love.
Right.
Everything stems and start with self-love. How much of you are you willing to love yourself? Because the more you love yourself, then the more that teaches other people how to treat you. It teaches people what your expectations are.
Yeah.
The moment that you start tolerating anything, any type of low vibration that you tolerate, that teaches people of what you will accept.
Right.
So if you're whatever, you know, worst case scenario, whatever, however you are and however you present yourself to a person, that's how they're going to treat you.
Right. And see, you know, people got to understand, you know, you can't be concerned about what people think of you, because for the longest people always call me mean. Now I'm far from it, but I do set boundaries and expectations on how I'm going to be treated. And I think people have the intent to feel like they going to try you, and they feel they should be able to try you without repercussions. That's you know, I believe in the law of cause and effect. You know, for every action,
There's
going to be a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be able to be that dude or that woman to accept the reaction I'm giving back to you based on what you gave out. So if you don't want the reaction, don't give it. But I just think a lot of times, you know, we so scared to be rejected, so we just accept anything.
Right.
And so then therefore, you know, I don't care about being rejected. This is how I am. This is what I'm going to accept, what I'm not going to accept. You can rock with it, you can don't. But that means that, so you already know how I'm going down. And if you don't, if I never told you, once you try me, I'm gonna get you that one good time. And so then therefore you know not to do it again. Now if you choose to do it again, that's on you. And I think a lot of times, you know, people say, well, they don't know no better. We all are adults. We all are very grown.
It's all a choice.
It's all a choice. We know what we're doing to people. So when you say something mean to somebody, you got, and you when they get mad or they react the way they react, you can't be surprised because you already know what you said was gonna be mean spirit anyway. And the question you need to ask yourself is, before you say or do something, how would I react? How
would I feel if this was said to me? It's like you kind of always ask yourself, well, should I say that? And then too, you know, not everything is, I say we don't have to fight every battle.
Nope.
All battles are not meant to be fought. Sometimes when you come up in situations, kind of like learning how to work inside of a relationship is another thing that people struggle with, you know, and that's because everybody's trying to be right. They're trying to be accepted, and then after that, they're trying to be liked. Right. It's like, I want to prove to you while my way is the best way, you know. And sometimes we can build a house, and as long as we get the house built, it doesn't matter whether we started on the south side or the north side. You know, if the house goes up and it's at the end of the day, it's all complete, it doesn't really matter. And that's another thing I think that people struggle with is in relationship, is just not knowing how to communicate in a way that will produce a great relationship.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. I say this to women that I deal with, or men and women that I'm cool with. If we having a conversation, my first statement is, I need you to listen. I need both of us to listen, to understand, and not to respond. Because I think a lot of times when we have conversations, like you said, somebody always wants to be right, so they're not really being totally present.
They're being prepared to rebuttal,
to not being totally present in the conversation. And so then, you know, they come at it, and so, you know, then so your whole intention is to be right. You're not trying to understand where I'm coming from or where you coming from. You know, you just want to be right. You want to win the conversation. So then, therefore, you know, for me, this is where I guess the mean boy come again. Cause I table the conversation. I say, you know, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop with this conversation. And they be like, what you mean you gonna stop? I said, you can't have a conversation with me by yourself if I'm not gonna participate. I feel like, I said, we need to, you know, if we're getting a little too hot and heavy, we get into our emotions, let's table it until we cool down. Because if we in our emotions, you may say something, or I might say something that we can't take back.
Right.
So let's table it, come back tomorrow, or come and we get cooler heads. But when we come back, we gotta have a productive conversation, because when we're in our emotions, we're not gonna have a productive conversation, because all about now is trying to win and possibly trying to hurt somebody.
Yeah, that's true. You have to, I guess you have to establish rules to communication, but, you know, in the heat of things, all of that, people forget, oh, we're not supposed to cross that line, and you be then crossed it and tripped over it and erased it out.
Yeah.
And it becomes one big ball of mess. So I don't know. What happens when you can't get to that resolve? You know, because this is what I know about most women hate to be told, we're not going to talk about it right now. Right? I mean, that's just the fact. Like, what do you mean we're not going to talk about it right now? We're going to talk about it right now. Right. You know, so I guess some of these things have to be established in the beginning, you know. So instead of asking a person, where do they work, maybe you want to ask them, approach this differently. Say, how do you handle conflict?
Right.
How do you deal with a disagreement? You know, like I'm saying, really, really, really try to get at the core of a person's thinking, because you'll know very quickly if somebody is a control freak. You'll know that by a conversation, but not if you're just asking them to show their shine off, because, you know, people like to say, come look at my new shiny toys and my bright cars and all that kind of stuff, and you don't know them.
Right. They do. And, you know, all they know is what they have. And that's what they want to, you know, especially down here. You know, everybody's flexing. You know, everybody got BMWs, Porsches, all that kind of stuff. Like you said, they pulling that car at somebody's apartment complex. They don't even have a house. Like you said, or if they do pull up in somebody's house, it's not their house. It's somebody else's house. But we get caught up in all that. And so instead of getting to know, asking the core questions, like you said, that need to be asked, so you get to know the person who they really are.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times we get caught up and fall in love with the image, and that's the actual person. And then by the time you realize who you are,
it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah, you too much in. You didn't transferred funds, and you know his social security number and bank codes and all that kind of stuff. Now you got to do too much stuff to reel it back out. But I had a conversation, you know, River, sometimes he and I do the Wake Up Winning, and he was talking about how with him, and speaking in general with men, you know, he said, man, if she show up and I'm just looking at the attributes and I'm like I'm ready to make you my girl, because, you know, you got the body that I'm looking for. And he said then, to his dismay, you know, to start being who she is, and he like, man, now none of that looks attractive anymore, because at the end of the day, we all have to connect. Our souls have to connect, you know, and I strongly believe that, and I think that this is why it's so heartbreaking that in a world of so many people, the biggest problem is in relationships. Like, why is that? Why? And I think because we are looking at the surface and we're not paying attention to what the needs are. Case in point, if you are a person that's all about family, shouldn't you get with somebody that's all about family?
Absolutely. That's a deal breaker for me.
Right? But if you get with somebody, or they're like, I don't deal with people like that. I don't. But you're so infatuated by parts of them that you will minimize what's most important for you.
Right.
And if family is most important for you, you know you like to have the parties at your house. You know that you like to go and cut your mama's grass, or you know that these things matter to you. You know that you like to pick up your nephews and your nieces and take them to the park for no reason. Don't need a reason, but you just want to connect with your family like that. And somebody sitting back beside you saying, why you always want to go get them, and why we always got to stop over here, and you know, you like, okay, so then all of a sudden, then you changing. Now things don't work out, and you've missed all these years or months doing the things that, and now you kind of trying to come back to the family, and the family like, oh, oh, where you been?
Exactly. Because, you know, one of the things, and you touch on the hot topic, because that's one of the things that's big with me, and I think, you know, when everybody is single, and if you just take a break from dating and really just look what's inside you and say, okay, what's important to me and that woman, and, you know, not what I want, but what I need in that woman for us to be really connected. And, you know, anybody who knows me, I'm big on family. So, like you said, I cannot have nobody who's not into family. You don't gotta have to come from a big family like me, but you gotta, you know, be
prepared to be around the family.
Be prepared, you know, because you know when they come to Atlanta, I drop everything, you know, because that's them. I don't see them often, so. But when I go to Cleveland, just be ready. It's gonna be the cousins and everybody else. You gotta be okay with that. You know, 2 is I'm very positive. As everybody know, I'm very positive. I look at everything as half full and not half empty. I always try to look at the you know, I always look at, well, how am I to be grateful for everything, good, bad, and indifferent. I cannot have someone who's a negative Nancy. We will not make it coexist, because that would irritate me. I'm a confident guy, so I need somebody who's confident too, because if your self-esteem is low, then you might be looking for me. Right. To make you feel better about yourself. You should already feel good about yourself anyway. So these are the type of things that I sit down and I try to figure out who will know what I need based on who I am and my personality trait, and then go from there so I can attract that to me. So have you ever thought about that kind of stuff?
Well, yeah, I think about it, you know, and it's like you said, I totally agree, you know, and a part of that is just knowing what I need, you know, knowing what I need in a relationship, and not compromising to the point that you're going to regret being with a person. Right. You know, so I've identified with the things that I need. And when you sit down and you start talking to people and they say, oh, okay, you're I get labeled, you know, oh, you work all the time. Well, I enjoy what I do. Right. You know, and for some, it's kind of like the respect of what you do. You don't have I don't work by a regular clock. You know, I don't indulge like that. Right. You know, I just do what I need to do. So I work by dates and deadlines and stuff like that, which is totally different than if you're just saying, oh, I'm just going to work and I'm going to work 5 hours, 7 hours or whatever. I'm in and out and you're focused like that. My work isn't like that. So for me, it was all about somebody that can understand the work that I do and be flexible.
So you don't need somebody, you can't have nobody who is extremely needy.
Yeah, like no, like that doesn't work at all. You know, and I think everybody should want somebody that had their own stuff going on. Right. You know, because then you're not getting caught up in trying to appease that person all the time. Right. You know, and that can get taxing. Very. You know, it's like almost impossible, because it's like, oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and you just always looking for them to come and be that, you know, white knight in shining armor, and that's you know, you gotta save yourself, and you gotta do. For me, you know, it's important for me to live my mission in life. See, and I think we had a conversation about this yesterday. I think that's the problem with most of the time, because we haven't connected the dots on what makes us happy. Then we're always chasing somebody else's dream. Right. You know, so it's like the dream of a man, and then the man has to be this way and that way, or the dream of a woman, she has to be this way or that way, instead of saying, you know, what is the calling on my life? Right. And like you said, everybody, I don't believe that everybody is really, you know, supposed to be in, quote, relationships, especially relationships. Let me back that up. I believe everybody wants to be happy with someone, but don't let it be defined by marriage or society's thoughts of what it should look like for you. Be big enough to sit down with your person and say, this is what we need for us. Right. That may look like, you know, whatever. You might be in 2 different states. You might see each other every day. You might see each other. You might be traveling. They're staying home. It may look totally opposite of what society say, well, the man go out there and do this and the woman do this. It might be the reverse. It might be where daddy's home full time with the kids, she's traveling, and the kids follow her, trail her around, or vice versa. You know, you could be in a homeschooling environment. You can be on send your kids to boarding school. Don't let these people tell you how to run your life. That's what I gotta say. I agree. We be hurt all the time trying to seek validation and trying to fit into the normalcy of what is what our parents did.
Right.
Talk about a new day. We're living life different.
Right. Exactly. And it's funny because someone had asked me a year ago, I was dating this person, and she was like, do you have to get married, or do you have to, or would you be cool with being in a committed relationship that you're just happy in? Mm-hmm. I said, well, I can just be in a happy relationship that I'm committed in. I said, I don't need the title of being marriage, of the marriage thing. I said, I'm at a place in my life where, that's all narratives. Mm-hmm. And that narrative don't have to apply to me. However I live my life is how I do it. And she said, most people don't think like that. Everybody's concerned about, like mom and dad, what would they think? Mom and dad, they lived their life. And they lived and they did their thing according to how they felt is best for them. Now, you, Wanda, and Kevin got to live their lives according to what they feel is best for them. Mm-hmm. And not try to seek and please everybody else. Because if you try to go get married, and that's not really in your spirit to get married, but you get married because your mom and dad want you to get married, then what happens when they leave?
Right, exactly. Because you're feeling, that's like kind of how when people go down certain career paths because of that's what their parents did. Like, oh, my mom was a teacher, so I'm gonna be a teacher. Her mom was a teacher, or we're all nurses. Just automatically, and the passion isn't there though. Right. It's just out of this is what everybody's expecting me to be. Mm-hmm. My dad was a pastor. He expects me to be a pastor. I want my son to be a pastor. We travel down these roads and we don't. And guess what? They didn't even like what they were doing.
Right.
At the end of the day, they say they wish that they could have traveled the world or went overseas and studied or whatever. And so it's like we have to just, in the new year, I just pray that everybody really taps into their heart space. Mm-hmm. Like get out of your head space and tap into your heart space.
Right.
And there lies the answers. There lies the answers to our questions about who we are and what we want out of life. And don't get me wrong, I think that certain traditions we need. Mm-hmm. Certain traditions keep us grounded. Right. And especially, I'm just speaking for us in terms of Black people, we've gotten so bad with trying to assimilate and fit in to where we've lost a lot of our true core values that made us special.
Right.
And so
I agree.
I think for some of that, we need to get back, and we do definitely, and family is a big part of it. Because, Kevin, at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters, and that is relationships on whatever level. Whatever level, whether it's platonic or intimate or casual or business. At the end of the day, this is a people world. Mm-hmm. It's all about people. Right. It's all about how we can help one another become better.
Right. And I'm going to change the gear for a hot second because prior to coming down here, I posted something on social media. And it said that some people will never like you, regardless of what you do, because, your spirit irritates the devil in them. And I spoke to a lot of people.
I like that.
And
your spirit.
You got to understand that, we all are energy people. And so your energy may not, mesh with everybody, because you are a very happy-go-lucky, positive person. So you have a big spirit. Mm-hmm. A lot of times that spirit might overtake a room, and someone who might not be as positive as you may be irritated by your spirit. and may not like you just because
too much for them.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I tell them all the time, pretend like these sunglasses, okay? If I show up and I'm too bright, this is what you need to do. Put your sunglasses on. I ain't got nothing to do with how you feel about me.
Right.
Them your feelings. Exactly. And your feelings are valid for you.
For you, right.
For you. But I can't control. We can't control. And that's what we have to stop being a person that's pretending. Be who we are. So if you show up and you have a bright, bold personality, that's fine. The world needs bright, bold personalities. The world needs observers. The world needs people that sit back and just, looky-loos and watchers.
Yep.
The world needs shakers and movers and shakers.
Right.
But everybody is not going to be a mover and shaker. Everybody is not going to shine bright.
Right.
You know? So I can't control what somebody else is looking at.
And so I got some people watching, and it's funny is that you try to control something. We all have to do it sometimes where we try to control where we're trying to go. And we forget that we are co-creators. We're not in complete control, but we're just co-creators. So a lot of times you try to control, you feel you're doing your purpose in this arena, but he's like, I need you to go in this arena. So towards the end of 2018, things started really to pop off to where I was doing a lot more media in other states, going to be on local TV like Detroit and Kentucky, all kind of stuff. And now, I'm doing a lot of stuff in Greenville, South Carolina. So I'll be there February 2nd for a relationship conference called Men Plus. But I got connected with the pastor in Greensville, and I also got connected to a brother in Houston. And they both have programs one's called Man to Man, where I have him on my show, and the other one's called Man Plus. So they're really driven on helping men be their best selves.
Okay.
And then it's funny because my barber came to me last week as he was cutting me up and giving me my beard back, that that's what he's being led to. And so we had that kind of conversation. So, you can't control it, because now he's bringing everybody to me and say, this is what you need to do. And you got to be, I need you to be that servant leader and make it happen. And so a lot of times it may not be exactly, I'm passionate about our men. I want them to be great. But that's not something I thought I was going to be going to the direction and doing. But I have to surrender to that and be like that. So what do you think, speak from a female perspective, speak to the men and what you feel that is needed from them to create their best selves in 2019?
Ooh.
From the female perspective.
From the female perspective. Wow. I would say it probably goes hand in hand with the woman's perspective in terms of, because we're all spirit, first of all. I don't really think it's too much difference between what the woman should be or what the man should be in creating our best selves. In creating our best selves, it's always going to go back to that heart. What is your heart calling you to do? So if you're wanting to become a better person, identify with what your attributes are. What do you do naturally, and then break that down, becoming a better person in all of those areas, like spirituality, finance, education wise, home life, outside of the home, like your lifestyle, your health, all of that matters. So then you have to just, from a coach's standpoint, you have to break it down. You have to dissect it. You have to say, okay, what do I focus on first? Like what's out of alignment first, because I would say, like the saying, eat the frog first. Like tackle what's hard first.
Yep.
So in that first quarter, if there's something, maybe you have some mental blocks, maybe you have some forgiveness, maybe you need to work on some things of that nature, then do that in that first. That first, and then say, okay, well, maybe the finances are in order, so you don't have to spend that much time on there. Maybe you just need to say you want to buff up your savings plan, or you want to, maybe your health is what's most out of alignment. So then you need to work on that first. There's really no difference between a man and a woman when it comes to we all want to be better.
Right.
And we all have the same issues. We all breathe the same air. So you have to just look at those areas in your life to see what's more out of alignment and what requires my immediate attention.
Absolutely.
And in some things it's a process. Like if you're struggling from bad habits, if it's just a problem of, say you're a smoker and you're trying to give up smoking, then maybe if you normally smoke a pack a day, try, half a pack a day. You gotta work on this or something, because it's a matter of finding your gauges and then to just set benchmarks to where that Les Brown talked about that one time. Heard him talk about when he was getting his fitness in order, and he started, he said, I was doing 20, my goal was to do 20 push-ups a day, and he said, and I did one day, and then the next day I was out, eating donuts. He said, so then I broke it back down, and I did 5. And I did 5 push-ups for 5 days, and then I increased gradually. So these are some things that you truly, I say, for somebody that really, really, really wants to make significant changes, they need to bring in help.
Yep.
They need to bring in a coach.
I agree.
You need to bring in a coach. You can't get there by yourself. And I don't care if that's a fitness coach, a business coach, a life coach, wherever areas, because the right coach is what's necessary. You can't go to a fitness coach based in you trying to do, like business goals or business strategies. So you want to find the right fit.
Let me tell you, Oprah has, I think, 4 or 5 coaches. She has one for her health, probably for her business, everything like that. And so because she understands she can't do it by herself.
Exactly.
I have 2, and so we have to be able to do it ourselves. When people come to me for like health coaching, I ask the question I ask them, how do we get to this point? And then they'll tell me, and I said, well, my next question is, when did you stop loving yourself? And they get really offended by that. They say, I love myself. No, I said, well, no, you don't. I said, we're going to keep it 100. No, you don't. Because if you did, you wouldn't have let yourself get to this point. Or if you did get yourself to the point and you love yourself enough, you've been doing what you need to do to fix it. Health-wise, if you got high blood pressure, you got diabetes, and this could be reversed, and all you have to do is just change your diet and exercise, and you still haven't done it, then you telling God and the universe that I don't love myself enough to do what I need to do to be the best version of me. And so back to you again is when you stop loving yourself, and then they sit down and it's like, I never thought about it like that.
Because people don't identify with the way that, like I said, once you start treating yourself properly, everything will fall off around you. And that whole health thing and these ailments that we take on as being truth, in fact, and a lot of that is, my granny had diabetes, so I'm destined for diabetes. No, it's the lifestyle.
Absolutely.
The lifestyle is the same. The lifestyle, you having the same lifestyle that your ancestors had, and this is why you come up with the same elements
Absolutely.
that they have. So you definitely have to look at that and say, you know, if you're you know, have some situations going on, then you have to deal with it, and you need to get help, because you're not gonna get there. See, you know, no, you need what you need.
You need what you need. And it's crazy because you know you need it, but you don't want to invest the money into it. So you, and that you telling yourself again that I don't feel that I'm enough to spend what I need to spend to be the best version of me.
Right.
You know, and you know, we tend to put all our money in entertainment, you know, beauty, you know, clothes, but food, alcohol. But when
drugs, why are you not saying
drugs? No. Partying, we'll spend all kind of we'll flex and spend all kind of money on that kind of stuff. But then when it come down to, I need a business coach, or I need a health coach, or I need a life coach, and we tell you how much we're gonna charge you, then you say it's too much.
It's too much. Or I love this. Oh, that's not too bad. Like, what?
Right. But you don't hear no more from them.
right. Or, you know, and I say, and it's sad. It's a sad truth, but this is why this is why the percentages don't change. This is why the 1%ers stay. It stays at 1%, and then there's 3%, and then everybody else falls down in this other category, and then other people are working at it. And you got some people that are simply not going to take off, period, because they're not willing to make the sacrifices. And there's so many sacrifices that has to be made, but the perspective of how you look at it changes, because when I think about, you know, when you have to stay up late at night working on a project, and you don't think of it as a sacrifice, you're doing what needs to be done. But people aren't willing to do what needs to be done. I get all kind of excuses, you know, and I'd be like, okay, you're using, but I call them out. You know, I don't play, I don't sugarcoat it, but I'm calling it out.
They say, but no, that's the truth. I said, that might be the truth, but use that truth as an excuse. I said, let's call a spade a spade. You know, if, you know, we all are busy, but we make time for what we want to make time for. So if you say, I'm too busy to exercise, no, you just don't want to exercise.
Right.
That's not a priority to you.
Right.
Say that. I can respect that.
But that's the problem. Nobody really wants to be truthful in where it is that where they are currently and what they want to be.
Right.
You know, they'll get excited about the hype. It's kind of like, have you done any network marketing? Okay, so you know, when you do network marketing, you know, it's a great experience. Which I absolutely believe that one of the best teachers is network marketing as far as self-development, if you get with the right company. But everybody is there and they're all excited, and because you got the music pumped up and everybody's excited, you got all this positive energy running around, and the moment they leave that environment, they're right back in the same space that they were when they started out. And that's because people are looking for so much external stimulation and not knowing how to stay motivated. Staying motivated means that you have to do some things that are not comfortable sometimes. You have to make sacrifices. You may lose some sleep. You know, you may lose out on doing some, quote, fun stuff. You know, when they say, come on over here, Kevin, we're going to the movies, you can't go to the movies. You know, going to the movies is not an option for you today. You know, and if everybody continues to just stay in that cycle of, I'm just looking for the fun, I don't really want to invest the time. I don't want to invest the money that I need to invest. You're not going to do it.
Exactly. Because we need to be able to, that's a sacrifice, you know, for what we do.
We got thrown off.
But what we do, you know, If we stay up late, we get up early. You know, we, you know, you could catch me sometime at Panera Bread at like 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, and when I'm up, I see you. I'm like, God, dog, she up as early as me. You know, and we up and we doing whether I try to at 6 o'clock. I might say I'm gonna dedicate an hour and a half to social media because I now have realized, okay, in order to build the brand that you want, like if I say my goal before I leave this place is to build a 7-figure business online, then I have to put the work in it.
Yep.
To do it. If that's my vision, and I'm speaking that to existence, then I can't say I want a 7-figure business, coaching business, but I can do everything online, you know. But yeah, I don't want to work my social media. Right.
Or you don't want to do the work. Right. I love it when people say, I want this number, I want to do this number, and no effort.
None.
No effort, no plan, no marketing strategies, no anything. Just saying, presto, it's going to come. But guess what? If it was going to come like that, everybody would be sitting on 7 figures.
Exactly. If I say, you know, okay, I did a lot of local TV in 2018 and 2019, I want to do national.
International.
Then I got to be able to do the work. You know, and something that is, you know, doing this stuff and trying to promote this so I could get national and international, you know, or like you said, have a marketing strategy with somebody who is into TV and like, what do I need to do to become an expert? So then CNN or whoever else could call me and say, Kevin, what's your thoughts on this? But you got to be able to do the work. And sometimes that may cost you some money to get it done, but is that money you spend there going to make a difference when you make that 7 figures?
Right. And look at it in terms of, I like to change words around. You know, people get caught up in saying, you know, like challenges and stuff like that. I like to use the word celebrations and investments.
Yep.
Because if you're celebrating your life, and like even if you're celebrating your life, whether it's a conscious change in your diet, that's a celebration to life. That's a celebration to your better life, your better living. I think that if people could take anything away from tonight, that it should be, let's change the way we say things out of our mouth.
Right.
You know, stop saying things like, oh, what's wrong? You know, I always say, what's right? You know, and when I call people, it's a funny thing. I'll say, so I caught you at a right time, right? Did I catch you? I caught you at a great time, right? You know, because I'm here now, right? So when we look at everything moving in the direction that we want it to move in, I think we really need to speak out what we want, you know, and look at it as an investment. You are investing in yourself. It doesn't cost. You're not spending. You're investing.
Right.
So you're going to take your money and you're going to invest it in your business, or you're going to invest it into your relationship, or you're investing it into your coaching, or, you know, mentoring, or whatever you need to do. You're looking at that as an investment and not as a waste. Going to dinner is a waste.
Right.
Going to the club, unless you're doing some business. Now, I do business in the club. I'm looking for talent. So, you know, but if you're just going there just to say, I'm here and I want to party, and you're popping bottles and you spent $5 gazillion.
Yep.
You know, you then spent your whole paycheck, and now you're broke on Monday trying to figure out, what did I do? Well, it was Saturday night that you messed up.
Exactly.
You're trying to impress the girls. You're like, oh yeah, just keep the drinks coming to their table, and you're doing all of this stuff, and then at the end of the day, you have an opportunity to be a part of something, and you say, I don't want to do that because it costs too much.
Yeah.
You weren't thinking about that when you were at the club popping bottles.
Exactly.
$150 a bottle, where you could have just went to the liquor store and bought you a good bottle of liquor for $50.
Exactly.
Or $25.
Depending on what you drink.
Get the small bottle.
So, I know you have a daily ritual. So, for the listeners, can you tell them which, like, your daily ritual? What do you do in the morning?
My daily ritual is when I get up in the morning. First thing I do is I pray. I thank God for waking me up, and then I visualize my day. Mm-hmm. I visualize my day from knowing that, I got to leave out. So I visualize myself, either if I have a meeting, going into the meeting, it being successful. I visualize contracts being signed. I visualize money coming into my bank account. I do all of this. And I write my gratitudes out of what I'm grateful for. I set up my day. I listen to music, and I listen to different types of music, Kevin. It just depends on how I feel. I might get up in the morning. I might want to listen to Tupac.
I know. I heard. I'm like, this o'clock in the morning.
I might want to listen to Kurt Franklin. You know, I want to, and I listen to whatever I want to. I listen to that in music. I do not watch any TV. Mm-hmm. I don't get on social media before I do those things. Right. You know, and I get myself together. So my ritual is my me time, and my ritual starts at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I wake up somewhere between 4:30, somewhere in there, 4:20 or 4:33, 4:44. I wake up somewhere in that time frame, and then I get up and I do those things. I set my intentions. I look over what I did the day before. I've created a simple system that helps me get up excited every day. Right. And then from there, I do the wake up winning call. Okay. On Facebook, and I post every morning. I post, thank God for the wake up call.
Right. I see that.
And I've been doing that now for a couple years.
Yeah. So for me, it's similar to you. I wake up around 4, and I meditate first. So for those who may not know, meditate is when you allow God or whoever you believe in to speak to you. And then after I meditate, then I pray, which allows me to speak to them. And then after that, I set my intentions for the day, what I want to accomplish. I'm into visualization as well. I want to see a certain amount of money come in my bank account. I want to see me getting this contract, or what the situation may be. If I have more time, I might listen to something on YouTube that's going to be inspirational to keep me going, but I don't watch TV. I pretty much allow me to have quiet time, or anything that's I can listen to is going to be inspirational, positive to feed my spirit, because I want to set the tone of how I see my day. And then when I go down there, I get to the gym about 5, and even in the car, like you, I listen to music, but it depends on my mood, what I'm gonna listen to. So like you, I'm a 90s guy, so I like 90s R&B, so I might hear that. But then again, I might want to hear J Moss, because that's my boy I be feeling at that time. But wherever my spirit lead me to do, but it's gonna be something positive in it. And then I work out, and then from there I go about my day. And usually by the time 7 o'clock, I'm doing my inspirational thought or whatever it is that day, or something like that. So I do write in my gratitude journal every day, because I believe you guys show gratitude daily. Because if you're not grateful for what you have,
absolutely,
then you can't get
where you are.
And you can't get more, because you tell them that you're not grateful. So even though you feel like, a lot of times we focus on where we don't have, and we might not get everything we wanted in 2018, but we did get some things, so we should be grateful for what we did get. and say, okay, we got this, but next in 2019, I'm gonna get this, but be grateful, and just understand that, and as I leave out, I ask, God, how can I be a blessing to someone today? Not how can somebody bless me,
right?
But how can I be a blessing to someone today? Because your whole intent, it should be to be a blessing to someone and help somebody be that light to somebody's day. And so that's how I see my day for stuff like that. So as we get closer to the end, I did want to ask you about relationships. Again, we're gonna go back because somebody asked me a question. So what do you do if you in 2019 and you have a dude and you elevating yourself and your dude is not, and he wants to stay where he's at, but you constantly elevating? What do you do? What would you tell that person, because they feel like they're stuck? They love this dude, but they're constantly trying to grow, and they feel like that person is holding them back. What would you tell that person?
Well, I don't think nobody can hold you back.
Right.
First of all, and it's all just a matter of a choice whether that's the person that you want to stay with. I think that's what it really comes down to, because nobody can hold you back. Can somebody hold you back?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Nobody can hold you back, even though I do know what being in a relationship would feel like if you're like polar opposite of that person, or you're trying to do something and they're not giving you that support that you need. So that's maybe what feels like you're being held back, but it's really an opportunity for you to make a decision.
Right.
If you want to continue down that path with that individual, then you're just going to have to accept where they are. It's not that they're holding you back. They may be wherever they are, they're fine there, and that's where they want to be. So you have to love them from there.
The question I always ask them, can you love that person for who they
are
right now?
Right now, yeah.
And not what you want them to be.
Right. Because that's like saying, oh, I'll just change her. I'll just change him. I'll get him, and then I'll change him. I'll mold him into what I want him to be. That's so unrealistic.
Right.
Because if that person is not going to agree, see, that's the difference. Is you can get into a relationship and somebody can clearly want to change. They clearly want to grow, and y'all can grow together. But if you get into a relationship and somebody is telling you, I'm comfortable with where I'm at, you go do that, then you have to then come to the decision of, do I go do what I want to do without them, or do I give up what I want to do, or do I just and be with them, or do I do what I want to do here and let them be there, and we come back and we do us?
Right.
I think a lot of times in relationships we think that we can't have both. You don't need someone to do better with themselves unless they want to do better.
Exactly.
You got to be willing to accept them for who they are right now.
Right.
So look at the person, see the person for who they are, and say, I can love you from where you are, who you are right now.
Right.
And if you can't, if it's all based on you trying to change somebody, that's never going to happen.
Right.
And it's not going to have a good ending.
Exactly, because I hear it all the time where, I'm growing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and he's stuck right here. But I said, so my question is, was this the same person how he was when you met him? And they were like, yeah. So you love that person, right? And they were like, well, yeah, but I'm growing. I said, okay, you're growing, but can you still love that person for who he is? Because what you're doing is because you're growing and you're elevating. You want him to grow with you, and he might be okay with who he is.
Right. Exactly.
And you gotta be okay. And the question is, are you okay with that? And if you're not okay with it, then you might have to go on. But if you can't, if you truly love that person, can you love him for who he is and accept him for who he is?
That's right. That's right.
And not what you, because people say, no, if the person is willing to change, that's one thing. But if you just think you're going to change that person that changed, that's not the true version of who he is. So eventually he's going to go back to his original self.
Right.
And then when he does that, then can you handle that?
Right. And I don't think we could really truly change anybody.
Nope.
You know, I think it's always going to be a personal inside job of the individual that has a desire to change. I believe we all can change, but I don't believe we can change any person. I don't believe that. I believe that because we have what's called the free will. So you gotta know that, you know, like that person is that. For instance, you know, like my diet is different from other people, but it's like I don't shun them because they do what they do. You know, I just know that I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm good with that.
Right.
You know, it's like you have to decide with who you are, and you got to be who you are all the time.
Exactly.
You can't flip flop, or if you're a flip flopper, then you flip flop.
Right.
But
exactly.
But you know, so just be happy doing you.
One of the things you said, and now it finally came back to me. If one of the things that you said is so true, and I think everybody need to understand that, is that if trying to have a relationship in 2019 is your goal, then you need to release anger or resentment that you may have towards other people. If you had a falling out, and everything might not even be with a female that I date. It could be a friend. It could be a family member that's a female that has angered me, and that anger and mistrust has made me just put the whole way how I feel about women in general in a certain kind of way. And if you don't release that, you will never be able to attract what you need, because you got a wall around you, because however you feel about women or about men at that particular time. And so if you really, so like for me, but you got to be ready for it, because you got to have that, be willing to have that conversation. And look, I remember I had a conversation with someone. I said, you know, let's have this conversation, because we don't have this. We got this disconnect, but we never really had our conversation on what caused the disconnect.
Of what caused it.
So all we have done is realize that we disconnected, and you done your thing, and I've done mine, but we never had a conversation about what caused it. And in order for us to be able to go to the next level in any relationship, we gotta fix this. I'm not saying that we're gonna be back to how we used to be, but we gotta fix it, and so we can release it. So then, therefore, that dude could come to you that you need, that woman may come to me. But until we don't fix this, it's not gonna happen. And it couldn't to find out, it was like a misunderstanding. You know how, she perceived something, or she felt a certain kind of way, but never told me how she felt.
So many people go through that.
And how could I fix the situation or understand where you're coming from if I don't know?
Right.
And I think that's a lot of times, in relationships, period, I think a lot of times we get offended by people or we get mad by people and we just shut down but never have that conversation. So it's unfair to that person that you're shutting down against, because they don't know what they did to offend you. If they, because sometimes you know what you're saying, and sometimes you might just be genuinely just saying something or do something that you don't think is offensive, but it may offend that person. And if you offend them, but you didn't know it, and they just get mad at you and just distance themselves from you, while giving you the opportunity to ask for forgiveness, or can you resolve the situation, you're not doing that person any justice. You're not doing yourself any justice. So why you think releasing all the negative hurts is important? in any kind of relationships?
I definitely think it's important, but I do know, because from experience, I've been there, of not just being able to communicate, you know, to where sometimes, and I have to come to grips with certain situations, is sometimes I'm just not that big of a person. I just cannot, and I'm just being transparent. I mean, I'm sometimes I just want to just let it go, like just forget about it, like it was, and be okay with it though. You know, I think that if it's something that's like eating at me and I just really like, oh, I can't sleep, this is gnawing at me, then I know I probably have to, and these are just the parameters that I set for myself, then I know I have to address that and get to the bottom of it. But then some relationships, and this is the thing with relationships, some relationships are not going to be lifetime relationships.
Nope.
They're seasonal. It could have been a 5-year season on it. It could have been a 20-year season on it. It could have been a 6-month season on it. But as long as I don't harm somebody in a way that I know I harmed you, then just walking away and saying, you know what, I'm not going to figure it out. Because I used to be a person that used to try to figure out, like, why are we not close as we used to be? Kevin, it used to drive me crazy.
I understand.
But then I had to just let it go. I said, you know what, we're out of season. That's the conclusion that I had to come to for myself. So I didn't go and I didn't look it up and try to say, hey, let's have this conversation, let's do this, let's do that. Because I knew that for me, it came across, and I'm thinking of various different situations of something. It's kind of like outgrowing. You're moving in a certain direction, and somebody else isn't moving in that direction, and they can't. Sometimes people really can't handle another person's change. And you're trying to, for me, I was just trying to hold on to certain people, like, oh, why? Like, come on back. I'm really the same. But then when it comes down to it, my minister told me, and when you have your conversation with God, God tells you, your mama probably told you, you come here by yourself, you're going to leave here by yourself. Right. So what I know to be a fact about myself is I want to sleep good at night. And as long as I sleep good at night, then I'm okay. Right. I can't really, people sometimes, we get too offended by everything. And I have to watch myself with, like, why am I feeling a certain kind of way? And then I check myself. I check myself every single day. Because a lot of times you don't display empathy. Well, what's the word? Empathy, right. You don't display empathy because you're so stuck on self. And you can't really see them being, having a difficult time. So the more I love me, the more I'm loving. I don't necessarily have to be in that relationship. Right. Whether it's a friendship, a family, whether it's a person, experience outside of all of that, intimacy, whatever. Right. I don't have to be that. And I don't have to, and I don't need
sorry, go ahead.
I don't need an exit interview for it. Right. I don't need to sit down. I don't always need to sit down.
That's why you said that, because about 3 years ago, for my birthday, I went to go see Lisa Nichols. Those who don't know, she's one of the people in The Secret and all that kind of good stuff. So she had just came out with a book called Abundance Life. Abundance Life, yeah. So, and in that, that's why I was like you, I was trying to hold on to relationships, whether it was friendships, family, that we was going in these different directions. And you were trying to hold on to it, and you trying to figure out why people do that. And she said most relationships are purposeful, and that a lot of times the purpose of the friendship has ended, And if you try to hold on to it, it's not going to be the same because the purpose is ended. So it might not be right. So then a lot of times when you know, God was trying to get you to, on your own, win yourself off of certain people, but you try to hold on to it. So then sometimes you might fall out with that person. That fallout was created because he was trying to let you back off on your own, and you didn't do it. So he gonna force you to do it.
Right.
And so like you said, you know, I have learned that, you know, instead of just asking what happened, a lot of times not to say, okay, the purpose is ended. You know, the purpose, you know, and what was I supposed to learn from that situation and move on accordingly. And that was like one of the key things that I learned. And then I think another key thing I learned was she had an assignment for us to do, and she asked us to ask our friends and or family or your mate, whoever it is you wanted to ask, how am I as a friend? Rate me from 1 to 10. 1 being bad, 1 being 10. If you ask your husband or your girlfriend, how am I as a boyfriend? Rate me 1 to 10, 1 being 10. Anything less than 10, then your question back is, how can I go back? How can I get from a 7
to a 10?
To a 10, and not get defensive
about it,
about the response that they're gonna give.
I like that.
And it was hard.
You pass your sheet out.
It was hard because I asked some friends. I said, you know, 1 to 10. I got some 10s, but then I got one that said 7. And I'm like, what? A 7? I said, okay, what do I need to do to go from a 7 to a 10? And she was like, I need you to be more proactive in calling. And I looked at her, I'm like, but you already know I'm not talking on the phone. That's what I wanted to say, but I had to stop myself because I couldn't get defensive. And part of what she said was, if I asked you, and you told me, Kevin, I need you to call. And I'm like, well, Wanda, you already know I'm not talking on the phone. But that's what I need. That's what you need.
As a friend.
As a friend. And so if I say, but you already know I'm not talking on the phone, I'm dismissing
what you said.
So what I'm telling you is, by how I responded, is what you need from me is not valid to me. You're gonna have to accept me and how we do based on how I do it. And that's being selfish on my part. So I had to learn, okay, even though I might be this type of person, and my friends know that I'm this type of person, that don't mean they don't need more from me. So,
or you could just take your 7.
Or just take your 7.
You could just take your 7. You ain't got to get all 10s.
Right. I want to be good. I want to be that 10. So, but it made me work on my, I'm big on relationship building anyway. So it made me say, okay, how can I be better?
Right.
And even when I was in corporate, and I was a manager, I said, okay, what do you need from me? So you can be your best as an employee.
Right.
And people are like, why are you asking them what they need from you? And you their boss.
Right.
Well, in order for me,
because we work together.
Exactly. And they appreciated the fact that I asked them for their opinion, and they really appreciate the fact that I heard them and I acted accordingly onto it too.
Right.
So, what's your thoughts on that exercise?
Oh, that's powerful. I think I'm gonna write it down. I might not pass out no slips. But I think that's a great exercise, because then at least you know where you are viewed and how you're viewed. My daughter said something to me that was real key the other day, because I believe that everybody should write a book and tell his story, or not just their story, but if you're in business, I think that you should have a product to go along with your business. So and she has gone through some stuff, and I always be telling her, hey, let's try to create a show or something. And she was like, Mommy, that's what you do. everybody don't want to talk until they don't. And I stepped back. I was like, you know what? You're right. Because we think that everybody should want the best life. But everybody don't. And that's just the sad truth, you know, but it's a fact.
Right.
So I said, you know what? You're right. You're right. You know, she said, so just, you know, because I'm trying to push her, like, you know,
right,
come on now, come on, we could do this together, you know, we could. She like,
so as we get ready to close, I'm gonna give you a chance to speak whatever's on your spirit. I know it's gonna be powerful. So what you want to tell the audience before we close?
Just, I mean, what this conversation, first I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Because tonight has been great. Just in talking, you know, I want to say that in 2019, like any other year, if you don't really be intentional, set a plan of action, seek the help that you want, it's gonna look the same in December 31st of 2019 if you don't do anything to make those changes different. I'll tell anybody, if you operate, and I've been saying this all night, we operate out of our heart space and leave these labels behind and get unattached to things, we will have so much of a more fulfilled life. You know, and it takes time to get there because we're in this rat race. I want to encourage everybody to try to get out of the rat race. And even if you can just get out of it for a moment, you know, like be deliberate about it. Be safe. Do good to yourself. Treat yourself so great to where you'll start to feel like how that feels. It feels so good, and you just want more, and you want more, and you want more of it. And just live, you know, like live on purpose. If you need help, you have access to great people. You know, great people are all around you. You can always find people, probably the people that they follow is the people that they need to be calling on. Like if you're for your people, you know, that they say, oh, I'm gonna call you and get it together one day, and then they never do. So, you know, pick up the phone and call people and really, really get started. Invest in yourself. Great. The best thing that I have ever done is always when I take time to invest in myself. When I take time to go to those classes, you went to see Lisa Nichols. That was a great experience, you know, and you connect with other people. You connect with like minds. Then you don't be afraid to lose people because you have room for more people to come into your life. That's great. Another thing I want to offer your viewers is I have just a free publication for those of you in business that or thinking about business. I want to offer them a free ebook, and that is 5 pitfalls to avoid when starting a business.com. They can download that. It's 5 pitfalls to avoid when starting a business.com, because I recognize that in this season, everybody starts businesses.
Right.
And these 5 pitfalls to avoid can really, really help you in planning your business. And even if you're in business, it's just, you know, it's free. So take a look at it, but it's very valuable. So that's, you know, that's what I want to say. Just be happy.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you. You were amazing. The feedback was
you have good feedback.
We got good feedback. They was really enjoying the conversation. They really enjoyed what we was talking about. What I want to say is pretty much piggyback to what you were saying. In 2019, in order to change what you didn't get done in 2018, you got to change your thoughts and how you see things, and you got to be able to speak into existence what you really want. And it has to be specific of what you really want. You know, you can't say, I'm going to lose weight. How much weight do you want to lose? So because you gotta give something to measure yourself with. If you want to build a business, you know, what kind of business would you want to do, and how much money you want to see yourself making in year one. Give yourself some goals to go by and do it, you know. But you have to change. You gotta be able to speak into existence what you want to manifest. What I would ask people to do is stop using the word try and word can't. Try set you up for failure. Because the reality is, when you say you're going to try, you're not going to really put forth the best effort, because you just did it so you can say, I tried. Either you're going to do it or you're not. But you don't say you're going to try to do it. You're going to do it or you're not. Don't say you can't do it. You can't do something you never tried it. You know, and so take those words out your vocabulary, because those words set you up for failure. Finally, is be intentional in everything that you do. You know, set your intentions every day of what you want to accomplish, what you're trying to, how you want to be a blessing to somebody else, how you can be a shining light, and knowing when you be intentional, what you put out is going to come back to you. You have to understand that. You have to know that to be true. So with that being said, lastly, be 100% unapologetic of who you are and whose you are. Please, in 2019, stop seeking validation from other people, because the people you seeking validation from is not seeking validation from you.
They ain't even worth it.
They ain't worth it. So why seek validation from somebody who's not even checking for you like that? You know, be okay with who you are, and let the people who like you for who you are come to you, and release the ones that don't. So with that being said, finally, okay, don't forget the January 26th, which is a Saturday, we're going to have a vision board party. I'm going to supply the poster boards. We're going to have wine. We're going to have some cheese and stuff. And I got a little gift for everybody that comes to do it. And so we're going to really start off 2019 in a positive way. So for those who don't know what Vision Board Party is, it's a vision board where you're going to create a poster board, and you put pictures and words on the poster board of how you want to see your life for 2019. And you put it somewhere, whether it's in your office, in your bathroom, your bedroom, so you can visualize, as you said, every day how you want to see your life to manifest. So we're going to do that in January 26th. February 2nd, I'll be in Greenville, South Carolina, doing the Man Talk Plus relationship panel discussion. And my goal is to go to Houston, Texas on March 9th through the 11th for the Man to Man conference, where I could speak about holistic health and men being their best self. So with that being said, this is your boy Kevin Thornton, the wellness architect, and be great, be authentic, be you, and we are out. Peace.